You're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, the Defense Ministry is undertaking a comprehensive review of a contract signed in 2007 for the construction of some houses for the Ghana Armed Forces. The project, estimated at the time at 16.6 million cedis, was changed to 25 million without justification. Now, that's contained in the 2011 Auditor General's report. The variation in the figure, according to the Armed Forces, resulted from structural changes to the plan. Head of Engineering at the Ghana Armed Forces, Colonel Isaac Nyako, admitted to the Public Accounts Committee this morning that delays in the execution of the project affected the pricing, but admits that the variation was not reported. Let's get some more details from Parliamentary Correspondent Elton Brobe. He's sat through today's Public Accounts Committee sitting and he has the details for us. Elton, give us a background to some of these houses. What were they meant for? What kind of buildings are we talking about? And what accounted for the discrepancy from 16.6 to 25 million cedis? Elton, can you hear me? It seems we don't have Elton Brobe on the line now. We'll try and re-establish contact with him and get the details from him on what exactly has accounted for the discrepancy. That a contract which was initially signed for 16.6 million Ghana cedis, while up to 25 million cedis, and it was not reported. They say it's structural changes that have happened, but what went into those structural plans and what happened, we'll get those details for you as and when we get Elton back on the line. But while we wait for that story, the Rachel Hospital has announced that it will be restricting some of its services to clients from Friday to Monday. Now, that is also because of certain issues that have come up in relation to a fumigation exercise that is supposed to happen at the Rachel Hospital. We know it will be closed from this Friday up until Monday to allow for that exercise to be done. We'll bring you details on that story shortly. It seems we've re-established contact with Elton on the line. Elton, good afternoon to you.
Yes, Francis, good afternoon.
Great. So I was asking for you to give us some background on that story of the Defense Ministry being asked to give us details on how a 16.6 million CD contract was changed to 25 million.
Okay, Francis, the information is that in 2007, the MPP administration entered into a contract with some contractors to undertake the construction of 18 different housing units to serve as accommodation for officers of the Ghana Armed Forces in different locations, Tema, Takoradi, Kumasi, Tamale, and some other areas. Now, between 2007 and up to now, out of the 18 housing units, only one has been completed and handed over to the Ghana Armed Forces. Now, when the contract was signed, it was estimated to cost the government of Ghana 16.6 million Ghana cedis. Now, according to the Auditor General in their report covering the period 2011 to 2013, this 16.6 million Ghana cedis, which was the initial cost, were revised to 25 million Ghana cedis, resulting in a variation of 8.4 million Ghana cedis, or 50.6%, without proper assessment of the work to be carried out. However, they are saying that no structural changes were made on those projects to merit the variation. And they noted that the contractors failed to execute their contracts before the one-year expiration period, and some had only executed 41% of the job. So this was the audit query that officials from the Ministry of Defense came to respond to. Now, in their response, they are saying that due to some structural changes, there was a need for them to vary the contract from the 16.7 to 25 million cedis. Now, when their attention was drawn to the fact that under the Public Procurement Act, contract variation cannot go beyond 10%, and in this case, we are talking about 50.6%, they said that they did not inform the Tender Review Committee. It was at the Ministry of Finance that this variation was accepted and adopted by the Ministry of Finance for the contractor to execute this particular project. When they were again drawn to the fact that this could constitute criminality on the part of the Ministry of Defense, they would not accept responsibility, rather directing the Public Accounts Committee to invite officials of the Ministry of Finance to respond to this particular issue, because according to them, even though they are to be the beneficiary of this particular project, execution and the award of the contract was done at the Ministry of Finance level. But their justification for varying the contract from the 16.6 to 25 million stem from the fact that prices of goods and services between the period had gone up, and so it was necessary that the price also was affected. Secondly, because several certifications were presented to the Ministry of Finance for payment, and they were never honored, and the contractor has secured bank loans to undertake these projects. Interest costs on those loans were factored into the contract value. That's how come from 15.6 million, we are now looking at 25 million, even though out of the 18 projects, only one, as we speak right now, since 2007, has been completed and handed over to the government of Ghana.
Okay, so did the committee get an understanding of why a contract was inflated by more than 10% and the work proper is yet to be completed?
Well, according to the defense minister, he told Parliament today that he is yet to even get in touch with the contractors because he's been looking for them since he assumed the role as defense minister, but he's not been able to locate the contractors. He's put notices in some of the papers for the contractors to come forward so that they can sit down and understand the contract that was entered into between them and government in 2007, whether it was a pre-finance contract or it was that they were given money to start mobilization. And these details, according to him, are unknown because the contract itself is not a document that is available for him to now study and make recommendation. What is done right now is to try and get in touch with the contractors. Some of the addresses they provided, they've tried to look for it, they could not find them. So this is the state of this particular project. The contractors are nowhere to be found, and for that, and the contract documents, some of them are not available right now. So it will be difficult for him at this stage to go forward in resolving this particular issue. His only hope is that the contractors will come forward and then respond to the issue so that together they can understand the contract that was entered into in 2007 to inform the way forward, because clearly the issue of finance appears to be the challenge that has resulted in them not being able to finish this particular contract.
I'm sure there are a lot more questions that are begging for answers. Like, for instance, if the Defense Ministry cannot find the contractors, the job was handed over to an individual at the ministry. He should be answering for that. Also, officials of the Finance Ministry who approved the increase from 16.6 million to 25 million should be made to answer questions. But let's see if we'll get that done in the coming days. Elton, we know the Auditor General has also made some recommendations and raised issues about some major lapses about the military storing of ammunition and other findings. Take us through some of those.
Well, in their report, which again, officers from the Ghana Armed Forces were on hand to respond to, the Auditor General is saying in the report that their inspection reviewed that armory is housed in a hangar, and we are talking about the Tamale Armory. Now, for them, the armory was not factored in the design and construction of this hangar, and the absence of a fortification required of an armory and is exposing it to insecurity as it is easily accessible to all visitors to the hangar. We are talking about Tamale, which is a volatile area. The armory is exposed to people in and around Tamale because originally the hangar, which was constructed, placed to store ammunition and other equipment of the Ghana Armed Forces were not factored in. Now, what the Ghana Armed Forces is saying is that they have redesigned the hangar, which is taking into consideration a place where they can store the armory, and they've actually thrown a challenge to the Auditor General's people to go on a side visit, and they will come to the realization that this particular audit query has been taken into. One interesting thing that also came up during the Q&A section was the fact that one, Claudio Alvarez Zapata, a Costa Rican who was a captain of a Nigerian registered merchant vessel, which according to them is owned by one Frank Freebot. This Mr. Zapata reportedly, according to the Auditor General, got injured on board the vessel and was brought to 37 Military Hospital on the 20th of December 2008, but passed away 3 days later. Now his corpse was deposited at the hospital's morgue and remains there to date. Now, the interesting thing about this is that since 2008 up to date, the accumulated medical and mortuary bill is now standing at 170,000 United States dollars. And the advice from the Auditor General is that the Ghana Armed Forces should look for the family of this Costa Rican, Claudio Alvarez Zapata, to recover this 170,000 United States dollars. Now, the Ghana Armed Forces is saying that they've made several attempts to contact the ship owner and the solicitor, but have proved futile. They've also contacted the Ghana Maritime Authority and the Nigerian counterparts to assist to locate the family of this Zapata. Secondly, to avoid a possible diplomatic incident, they've asked the Minister of Foreign Affairs to advise on this particular issue. As we speak, they've not been able to contact the family of this, captain of this vessel who died at 37 Military Hospital, and that $170,000 is outstanding. And the indication is that it will be difficult for them to recover this particular money.
It's amazing, Elton, the kind of details you give and how it's taken this long time. The body is still sitting at the morgue, money not paid, and we're still thinking of how we'll resolve this matter. But thank you, Elton, for those details from today's sitting. I'm sure that we'll be getting some more reactions on this particular story, and also from the Public Accounts Committee on what we can do beyond just raising the issues and having the ministers responsible come to answer for it. Let's now move to the Ridge Hospital, which has announced that it will be restricting some of its services to clients from Friday up until Monday. General medical and emergency cases will not be attended to, but obstetrics and gynecological services will, however, be looked at. In an interview with Joy News, the hospital administrator, Emmanuel Tadi, says the restriction has become necessary to make way for their routine fumigation exercise.
Oh, it's a routine exercise that we normally carry out as part of our infection prevention and control processes. Okay. You know, as a hospital or as a facility, from time to time, you need to disinfect to take care of any insects, rodents, or sometimes even bed bugs that somebody might have carried from the house to the facility. And we do it so that people don't come here for cross-infection, so people don't come here and take infections to their place. So it's a routine exercise that we are doing.
How long is this exercise taken?
We are doing it for the whole hospital, but in order that services may not be unduly interrupted, we are doing it in phases. So we may do it about 3 phases. This is the first phase. The first phase will last 2 days. So Saturday and Sunday. But to prepare for the exercise, we are closing services from Friday 4 o'clock, so that we will not take new cases in for the outpatient and the emergency areas, so that by Saturday morning, everybody will have been gone, so that we can fumigate. So it's just a 2 days exercise.
Okay. So what does this mean to people who will be coming here? Does it mean we cannot come here to get services here?
It doesn't mean we are restricting services. What it means is that theater services, our main theater and outpatient services, will not be available for the period, Saturday and Sunday. However, obstetrics cases, that's maternal cases, services will be running. Inpatient services too will be running. That's why we have decided to do it in phases. So if you are referred for a general surgery, for example, on Saturday and Sunday, it will not be possible to admit such a person. But if somebody was referred for a CS, that will be possible, because our house theater will be available to take care of those cases. However, what we are saying is that normally when the main theater is running, it supports the house theater. So house theater alone may not be able to take the volumes or the numbers of people coming. So that's why we are appealing to the other health facilities in the region.
But is there a plan already with other health facilities?
Yeah, we have communicated to them. We have communicated to them to make alternative referral arrangements, maybe to Kuala Lumpur, to 37, and other secondary facilities within the region.
So when should we see everything being restored to normalcy?
Yeah, Monday, 8 a.m., we are restoring everything back to normal, and we'll be running services as normal. As and when we are doing the other phase, we will announce it appropriately.
Okay. So let me also get it. What exactly has triggered this fumigation exercise?
You know, hospital we use drugs, medication, and this thing, and it attracts insects, rodents, whatever. Even bed bugs can come in the hospital.
Are you experiencing some already?
For now, we are not experiencing any of those ones. For now, we are not experiencing any of them.
Has the construction also got to do with this too?
Yeah, partly. Because of the construction, a lot of dust and other, a lot of things have been disorganized. Parking, a lot of congestion has come in, and that also is contributory factors to the situation in the hospital. So it reinforces the reason, the need why we have to do this exercise.